Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Big Steve Jobs.
And this is the news.
Yes, it most certainly is. And what better news story to
Oh,
start
what a
off
day.
with today than the best news of all time.
Batista's back.
No, well, Roman Reigns.
Oh,
mate.
right, sorry. Get ahead of myself.
Roman Reigns is back. The big
Yes.
dog. He returned on last night's WWE Raw. This was pre-announced a few days ago. He came out, he had the big announcement. He got a great reception from the crowd, as was to be expected. He spent some time thanking everyone. He spoke a little bit about God. He spoke about coming back to the ring. And then he dropped the bomb. His leukemia is in remission.
Fantastic
This
news,
is probably the best news imaginable. I think when WWE broke news of this announcement, we all kind of assumed that it had to be something big, because he couldn't just turn up and say, "Oh yeah, I'm still fighting, so blah 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 blah. I don't know what's going to happen." That would not have worked. The fact that they announced this suggested something big was on the horizon, and it's the best possible outcome. Reigns is back. We don't know for sure when he's going to return to the ring or anything like that. But he looked healthy, he looked happy, he looked emotionally overwhelmed. It was a great, real, raw way to start Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, it's a really nice feel-good moment. Just a quick note for all of you out there on Twitter saying, why isn't he being put back into the main event picture from WrestleMania? He's still getting over leukemia.
Yeah.
Just pump the brakes a little bit, but...
There's a lot of bad takes going around on social media at the moment.
Just be happy he's back. You could see in Seth Rollins' face the joy of having his brother back alongside him in WWE. And yeah, it's just nice. We don't get that many nice things sometimes in wrestling.
No, we really don't. It's really great to see him back so early as well. I mean, there was like a very high chance that he wouldn't be able to compete again. Very, very high. The fact that he's back shows just how well he's battled through and how strong this guy is. It was just really great to see him back last night, man. Like, honestly, like, I know I'm really hard. We all know this. I'm the hardest man in the office.
Indeed.
I almost welled up a little bit watching the man speak. It was just so nice. And the fact that he was treated like a hero, he had rousing welcome back chants. It's great to have him back. It was a great moment. You will not find a more organic piece of wrestling television all year. I'm kind of lost for words.
Yeah, there were some lovely touches in there, as you said, when he talked about this experience for him. But the thing I really liked was there was two points. One on the ramp and one just before he stepped in the ring, where you could just tell he was drinking it all in. He was like, I haven't been here for a long time. Like you said, he thought possibly he may never get that again as an in-ring performer. And it's just absolutely fantastic news. Great to have him back.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on to our second news story of the day, which relates to all the goings-on Monday Night Raw last night. One of the best Raws in a long time, in my opinion. And that was to do with Dean Ambrose. Of course, we had later on in the show, we got a no disqualification match between Dean Ambrose and Drew McIntyre. And that rascal Baron Corbin, along with Bobby Lashley and, of course, Elias, who was the first one to get involved in the match, got involved. Drew McIntyre pinned Dean Ambrose. Out came Baron Corbin and Bobby Lashley. All four of them got into the ring. They beat the crap out of Dean Ambrose, but out came Seth Rollins with a chair and Roman Reigns back to make the save for Dean Ambrose. We saw a reuniting of Seth and Roman, but no Dean, who was still laid out in the ring. And apparently that call was made by Dean Ambrose himself. He decided not to reunite with his Shield brothers for the old, fist bump on the ramp just yet, which I think was probably the right decision.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. So this was broken by Fightful shortly after the show. Dean also elected not to come out when Seth came to greet Roman at the top of the ramp after his announcement earlier in the show as well. I think it's the best move. I thought it came off really, really well. From a storyline standpoint, of course, Dean was a piece of crap last year. He was obviously said some terrible things about Roman in character. So it makes sense for them to not just be all major, like big buddy, pal, friends, super boy, guy, men, pals, fist bumps, power bombs, all that stuff. It makes sense for them to hold off on that.
Nailed it. Yeah, I think, look, this story has got a lot more legs, and you don't need to blow it all on one night. And I think we saw that previously when Seth and Dean were reuniting, that they didn't trust each other for a long time. There's no reason why you couldn't just rerun that again, because a lot of water has gone under that bridge. And also, the decision to have the save made by Roman and Seth was apparently made during the show too. Yeah,
that's really on the wall, off the cuff rewrite by WWE there.
But great reading of the room.
Really great reading of the room. Uncharacteristic. It's almost like someone who's really good at writing professional wrestling is back in the company, Bruce Pritchard. Anyway, it was really good stuff.
Yeah,
it
fantastic.
really worked. And credit to everyone involved.
And we'll be doing a podcast later on today all about Monday Night Raw and the fallout and the lead to WrestleMania, so watch out for that.
So we've just spent all this time talking about two of Raw's biggest stories. You mentioned it at the top. Batista's back, man.
Oh my God!
Such a newsworthy show that we're saving this until relatively late in the video. So in one of the best scripted angles I can remember in a long time, it was the Ric Flair 70th birthday celebration. There was all these legends, the roster were there. Triple H had a special title belt for the Nature Boy. He invited Ric Flair out to the ring. Suddenly the camera's cut backstage. Batista is dragging a cameraman along the floor. He goes into Ric Flair's locker room. He's in there for a good 30 seconds. He comes out and Ric Flair's all beaten up. He's all red. Batista's dragging him by his collar.
Oh.
And then he stands there. He's wearing shades with a blue tint. He's wearing a nose ring with a blue tint. Batista, obviously.
Yes.
Takes the shades off, stares the camera down, breathing heavily. Hunter, do I have your attention now? Obviously a throwback to the CM Punk line. Triple H rushes backstage. Batista's nowhere to be found. Raw goes off the air. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant piece of wrestling storytelling. I did not think after SmackDown 1000 I could be any more hyped for a match between two 50-year-old men. But I am now.
Talk about sort of slowly piecing it together. Of course, Batista's been away. He's a Hollywood guy now, and we don't get to see a lot of him on WWE TV. But that little seed that was planted at SmackDown 1000, you've beaten everyone. You haven't beaten me, though. And we thought, could they? And then, obviously, the pectoral injury for Triple H, and we thought, it's not going to happen. Batista as well, I think I'm going to get him back. And then last night, as we went off air, I think a lot of people, myself included, prior to the incident earlier on the night with Becky Lynch, figured that Ric Flair's birthday would coincide with a Becky Lynch angle. Look, Becky Lynch and Ronda had some exciting stuff happen on Monday Night Raw as well. This was utilised brilliantly. I, for one, cannot wait to see, hopefully, fingers crossed, Triple H versus Batista at WrestleMania.
I mean, that Becky Lynch thing really is the extra layer to this, right? Because everyone, when this celebration was announced, was like, oh, Becky's going to come down and ruin that because Charlotte and all this stuff. But no, it was Batista. It was something nobody saw. Even when Becky got arrested, everyone, you still had this thought, oh, well, she's still going to come back. It's wrestling, blah, blah, blah. But no, that's wrestling. That's brilliant storytelling. That is a swerve. People are annoyed about it online. Good. You're supposed to be annoyed. You got worked, Marks.
Batista is back, and it is fantastic news. Final news story of the day, though. There's another wrestling company you may have heard of called AEW. Their Double or Nothing event is coming up in a few months' time, and it's just been confirmed that the Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks will be taking place. We sort of knew this was probably going to happen, but it's officially being confirmed now. Young Bucks, Lucha Brothers, what a match that is.
Yeah, it's going to be outrageous. So this was, of course, first established at the Double or Nothing ticket announcement party when the Lucha Brothers attacked the Young Bucks while they were on stage. It continued this weekend at an AAW, which is the Chicago-based indie show. The Young Bucks attacked the Lucha Brothers after a main event and threw the gauntlet down. Now, AEW have announced the match officially via their Twitter page. I mean, it's going to be fantastic. Like, I am a big bad wrestling hipster. I've seen these guys wrestle before in PWG and The Crash. Both matches that I've seen were absolutely phenomenal on a big stage in Las Vegas with the high production values, with all the hype, with that crowd. It's going to be so buzzing. This is going to be outrageous. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be really, really good. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions for today. Don't forget you can tweet them at us at WhatCulture WWE. And let's move on to friend of the channel, Mark Gallagher, who sent us a video question for today.
When the brand split was announced, separation was key. Keep it segregated on two sides. Now they're sharing pay-per-views, titles, and NXT guys as the brand split 2.0 now die.
Lovely. Has the brand split died in its sort of second incarnation for you?
I don't think it has fully died. I think it is well on its way. I think that maintaining the brand split would be sound strategy for WWE. I think it has worked quite well. SmackDown is a much better show than it was. You do not want to return to the days when SmackDown was just basically a direct retread of what happened on Raw and was pointless. But you're absolutely right. Like, the things they've done, like the NXT call-ups, the passing titles around, the things like Becky Lynch going to Raw and all this stuff, Charlotte Flair going to Raw, it does devalue the whole thing. I think what they really need to do is a hard reset after WrestleMania with the next Superstar shakeup. This is a split. It's a solid split. It's no one crosses over. We're going to stick to it. Otherwise, the whole thing's just kind of a joke, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think the brand split is dead. I think with the big TV deals, that's kind of impossible now. I never used to watch SmackDown, effectively, when it was just the B show.
It was pointless.
Without any individual stars solely on that show. But yeah, I agree. I think an element of fluidity around WrestleMania is okay. It would have been stupid to say, well, we'd love to see Ronda versus Becky, but they're on different shows, so I guess we're not going to get that. Look, it makes a lot of sense to do that, and I think the tag titles, the women's tag titles, swapping over shows does make sense as well because of the lack of depth of talent in that division. Great single stars, but not many good tag teams there. But yeah, beyond that, I think re-establishing after the superstar shake-up, after WrestleMania, who's on which show, and we're gonna have a really, really good year, I reckon, for SmackDown because they have to.
I like your take better than I like my take.
Thanks. Team. Let's move on to Fat Momoa on Twitter, who says, should the WWE do more or less contract signings? On one hand, they add to the sport aspects, like in boxing, but on the other side, they never do them consistently, so it's an old trope, and we expect drama.
WWE, I would be very happy if WWE never booked another contract signing ever again. I know they're doing one on SmackDown tomorrow for Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan. These things are boring, they're so predictable, they're so overdone. Like, invariably, they'll end in a brawl, someone will flip the table over and it'll all go to hell. And the fact, I just think they're really stupid, right? Every single match theoretically has a contract signing. Even if it's like Stevie Peep versus Barry Piss on Monday Night Raw and it goes a minute and a half.
Love that match.
Great match.
6 stars for me.
In the Tokyo Dome. Every single match would theoretically have a contract signing, and yet you're only doing it for show purposes, for big main events. I think they're pointless, dumb, stupid, predictable, lame, the worst thing in the world, apart from, I don't know, leprechauns. Yeah,
I think elements to them are good. I think once every blue moon is fine, and I think but it's also like WWE don't realise there are other ways to get head-to-head matches over. And for instance, myself and the Dadley boys were watching back the old WrestleMania 17 promo between The Rock and Austin, one of the greatest ever promos.
The greatest ever, I would say.
There, they had a brilliant backstage interview where there's an interview sat in the middle. They're kind of akin to the stuff they sometimes do on UFC.
I need to beat
more
you,
of that sort of thing. I need to beat you, Rock. I need it more than anything you could ever imagine. You will get the absolute best of The Rock. Every drop of blood, that sort of thing. I think just a bit of variation. Look, you can have these head-to-head confrontations. They don't have to be a big promo off in the middle of the ring. But yeah, I think every now and again a contract signing, but other variations on that theme are
Press
needed.
Conferences. Why don't they do stage press conferences?
Yeah, that'd be
like
good.
New Japan do. Works really well.
Final question today comes from Robert Drapp, who says, do you think Triple H will be able to rebuild the NXT talent on the main roster that has fallen down the card, or will he simply reboot them with a new gimmick whenever he assumes control over the main roster talent?
Wow, that's quite a deep reaching question, because it's obviously, I think it's going to be a long time before Triple H has that level of control on the main roster. I think that perhaps by the time Triple H does have control, I think that'll be 3, 4, 5, maybe even longer years. I think that the NXT wrestlers will be whatever they are. I'm not saying they'll be ruined. Some of them will be. Like, that's just a fact. Some of these guys will be undermined on the main roster. That's just what happens. I think guys like Ciampa stand a good chance of making it. But I think by the time Triple H gets there, they will just be on the level that they're going to stick at for the rest of their career. You know, there's not really any moving up and down in WWE. Like, Nakamura is at a level here now. He's not going to get elevated. He's not going to get diminished. Asuka, like everyone else in the women's division, is here. She's here. That's what she is now. Like, she beats Becky Lynch. Okay, that's a little bump. And then she's losing to Mandy Rose next week. So, you know, back to the level. It's just how WWE operate. There's no tiers. There's no hierarchies. Nobody really moves up and down. I think they'll be in a boring middle level.
Yeah, I don't see Triple H hitting a hard reset button. I think he has faith in the talent to get themselves more over. But like you say, depends by that point whether or not they will already be far too buried to recover.
Far gone.
Exactly. Right, let's move on to today's and finally, and let's stay on Twitter because I saw something absolutely spectacular happen last night. Friend of the channel, Mick Foley, who we're going to be releasing an interview with in the near future, tweeted a lovely photo of himself and Rhea Ripley saying, "Look who I met. Is it me or is she not particularly that impressed?" As you can see in the photo here. But Rhea Ripley replied, she is contending with Becky Lynch for some really good Twitter game here. No matter how much I despise you peasants, every now and then I'll spare a minute of my life to have a photo with my fans, even if you do smell like rubbish.
That's
right, which was stellar work.
That's great.
Mick responded basically saying, come on, I was trying to be nice here. You know, we were just trying to be friends. I was trying to give you a bit of credit. You know, can't we all just get along effectively? And Rhea Ripley replied, your praise means nothing to me. It would mean more coming from Mr. Socko. As I recall it, it was the Rock and Sock connection, not the Rock and Foley connection. How does it feel being outshined by a filthy, disgusting, worn-out sock? Rhea Ripley, I love you.
She's great, isn't she? She's such a good heel, man.
Brilliant.
Like, dressing up as Nixon Newell. What's Nixon Newell's ring name again?
Brilliant.
Tegan Knox after she got injured in the cup and stuff like that. Brilliant stuff. Rhea Ripley's the future, man.
Any more great rest of the Twitter game, you can tweet them at us. I'm at Adam Wilborn. He is at
Andy H. Murray.
And our lovely editor is at It's Adam
Please,
Nicholas.
for the love of God, keep those leukemia is a work tweets far away from me, you stupid idiots.
You can follow us all on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. Let us know your thoughts on Rhea Ripley's Twitter game and all of today's news stories in the comments section below. And of course, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching and we will see you soon.